Hey everyone, in today's video we are going to be comparing every single prime focal length that I have on a full frame camera. So I did this on my channel a few months ago, but on Canon, where I compared all my prime lenses on a full frame camera, and then I did the video again on a crop frame camera. This time we are going to be using a Sony full frame camera. I have the Sony a7 III, and this time I also have 2 extra lenses to add into our comparison, so we'll have something new to look at, and also 1 extra bonus lens at the end as well. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. There are a lot of shots, a lot of lens changes, a lot of photos to get through, so we're gonna get started. So we have our model Kung, who's going to be standing in the shot. We've asked him to stand in one spot so he looks exactly the same throughout all the photos, because that was something you guys wanted last time. So please don't say it looks like I'm forcing him to be there. You guys wanted that, so I'm listening to your feedback and we're implementing that for the shoot today. So for the first comparison, I'm going to have my camera, the a7 III, on a tripod, and we're going to take a photo with each focal length. Then I'll show you all the photos side by side so you can see exactly what each focal length looks like.
You're gonna do arms crossed? Like that? You're gonna be squatting like the whole time.
Yeah, arms crossed.
Okay, and then do you want to face your shoulders totally towards me? And maybe your feet too? Yeah. So the first lens we have is the Tamron 20mm 2.8. I'm just gonna take a couple of quick photos on this. The next lens we have to use today is the G Master 24mm 1.4. And by the way, I am going to be shooting all these photos wide open for each lens. Next up, we have the Sony 28mm f2. Next in the lineup is the Zeiss 35mm 1.4. I can't believe the IAF is actually working in this shot, because Kung is really tiny in the frame, but it's going from one eye to the other, which is kind of impressive. Next is the Zeiss 50mm 1.4. Oh, that's nice. Can you take one, like smidgy that way? Yeah. Oh, 1.4. There we go. Now we have the 85mm 1.4. I actually really like this framing, even though it's a bit weird. Now we have the G Master 100mm STF 2.8 lens. And I have to bump up my ISO for this one because it is actually a t-stop of 5.6. This is our second last lens now, which is the G Master 135 1.8. Wow, this one looks amazing in golden hour.
The last lens that we have is a little bit of a bonus round because it is a zoom lens, but I thought it would be fun to include anyway. We have the Tamron 70 to 180mm 2.8 lens, and we're going to be shooting with it on the most telephoto and the 180mm end.
So let's zoom it into 180 to get a nice portrait of Kung. So I'm also trying to frame these shots with a lot of negative space at the top of the frame, because we have a really cool tree just behind Kung, so we can also compare the bokeh and just see the difference in the bokeh of the tree too.
The next comparison that we're doing, I'm going to be moving around to fill the frame with the subject. So I want to get a full body shot of Kung with just a little bit of negative space at the top and the bottom of the frame with each of our focal lengths, and we're going to start at the widest, which is 20mm.
Okay, I feel like I'm surprisingly close up to Kung, but this is a full body shot. And I'm like, what, a meter away from you? Now we're on the 24mm G Master 1.4. Now we are on the 28mm f2. So now we are on the 50mm, which is making the golden hour look so creamy in the background. I love what this shot looks like. Okay, so I have to be on ISO 1000 for the 100mm. The sun has just set, but there is still a lot of light around. For these next shots, I'm on the 135mm, and I'm noticing that this is the first lens where you can barely see the sky in the shot. So it's pretty much just all trees in the background.
The second last comparison that we're doing is I'm going to take a mid-length portrait in landscape orientation, and I'm going to be moving around to fill the frame to try and get each shot to look the same.
Every shot.
What?
I'm blinking every shot.
No, you're not. So here we're on the Zeiss 35mm 1.4. I like the little lens flare on this one here actually. And finally, we are on the 180mm end of the Tamron 70 to 180.
So for the final round and the last comparison and the last time I'll be changing all these lenses on my camera body, I'm going to be taking a close-up portrait again to fill the frame. So I'm going to be moving around, and this is going to be in portrait orientation. So I'm going to start again on the widest lens, the Tamron 20 2.8.
I have to be really close. I'm gonna bring your chin down a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna crop so you can see. What are you doing? Yeah, I feel like this is like my arm's length. So now we're on the 24mm. Finally, we have our bonus round of the Tamron 70-180 on the 180mm end.
So the sun has just set, but luckily we took all the comparisons that we needed for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching that and found that helpful, seeing all the photos and all the focal lengths side by side. I would love to know which ones were your favorite photos, like focal lengths, in the comments down below. For me on full frame, my favorites would be the 35 and the 85mm. I feel like they're a match made in heaven. And then I also really love the 135mm as well. I think it's really beautiful for some close-up portraits. If you enjoyed this video, I have a bunch of other videos just like this on my channel where I compared just 2 prime focal lengths during a creative portrait photo shoot session. So if you want to check them out, I'll leave them linked down below, or you can go and find them on my channel as well. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I will see you all next time. Bye!